How's that for starters, then? A little bit of close harmony, a little bit of far-out comedy, a pianist who can make the piano talk, even though it's probably saying, take your hands off me, some gorgeous girls waiting in the wings, and an audience that looks as though all its birthdays have come at once. That's the way to do it, as the oldest comic of them all used to say. That's the way to open an evening of entertainment that some folks call variety, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but that old stagers knew as music hall. The vintage years of British music hall came towards the end of the 19th century, when for the first time in history, working men and women found themselves with spare money and free time. And the expression, a good turn, came to mean more than doing someone a favour. It came to mean anyone, acrobat, juggler, comedian, singer, dancer, or contortionist, who could hold the stage at the local palace and dodge the vegetables without losing their poise. By the 1930s, music hall had become variety. So here, just as a taster, is a glimpse of what you might have found on the first half of a variety bill 60 years ago.
And now for another dash of dark. Nosmo King. He runs a troupe of performing fleas. As a matter of fact, he started to undress just now. I asked him why, and he said he'd lost his leading man. Well, oh, pardon me, but I hear my supper's been poured out.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Now listen, you guys. This is the weather forecast for the night of tomorrow and the shipping news.
Just a minute, please, Colonel.
Shipping news?
Just a minute, please. You can't speak to the audience like that.
Can't I tell them the weather forecast?
No, certainly not.
No?
No.
All right, don't blame me if you have a wet week. You've got a nerve to talk to me, you have. I know all about you. You were at the party last night.
That's right.
You gave me a couple of cigars.
I did.
Do you remember what you said when you gave me those cigars?
Yes, I said they were the best things out.
The best things out.
Yes.
You were quite right, too. Do you remember you remember what happened to the party?
Why, of course I remember.
You don't remember nothing? You was all by yourself in the corner, drinking and drinking till you got so drunk I could hardly see you? Did you see the little girl I was dancing with at the party?
Yes.
Wasn't she nice?
She was.
Little bit skinny, wasn't she?
What, Colonel?
A bit skinny.
No, not skinny.
Well, I thought she was a bit skinny.
No. In the best places, they say slender.
In the best places, she was skinny. I asked her a question last night at the party, and you know what she said?
No?
That's right, who told you?
The shows may have been held in music halls, but initially, unless they were solo acts, musicians themselves didn't get much of a look in. In fact, in most shows, on most nights, they were buried alive in the orchestra pit, just a row of anonymous heads that the comics made jokes about. But really, they were indispensable, for most of the acts and the star names relied on their support. And then, in the mid-1930s, the big band phenomenon came winging across the Atlantic from America. And before you could say Benny Goodman or Glenn Miller, their English equivalents, Geraldo, Ambrose and Joe Loss, became popular stars in their own right. The musicians had escaped from the pit and captured the music hall stage.
No doubt you recognize those masters of modern ballroom music so popular on air and stage, Joe Loss and his band.
Presenting the bad boy of the Stevens family, Clem.
Boys and girls come out to play, learn to spell the modern way. When you learn your ABC, take a tip from me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that's what teacher taught to me. What a shock he's gonna get when he's little rhythm in the alphabet. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, teacher always picks on me. We got something, yeah, you bet, a little bit of rhythm in the alphabet. C-A-T spells cat, we know, H-E-N spells hen. And a little hidey, hidey, ho, and that little waltz to G-I-N. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P. Now just once more so we won't forget a little bit of rhythm. That's not given. A little bit of rhythm in the alphabet.
Even at posh venues like the Albert Hall, a touch of the old music hall vulgarities would be slipped in between the symphonies. The wrestling match with the sousaphone would have had them guffawing till their jewels rattled. big bands were too expensive, they'd row in a barbershop quartet, the updated version with a guitar and some fancy harmonies.
Got the St. Louis blues, just blues I can't be. Got the St. Louis blues, just blues I can be. That gal's got a heart like a rock out in the sea. Can a cold-blooded woman make a weak man leave his? I said, can a cold-blooded woman make a weak man leave his? But a hot-blooded woman make a strong man on his. Could a blonde-headed woman make a good man leave this town? I said a blonde-headed woman make a good man leave this town. But a red-headed woman make a boy slap his papa down. Oh, mama, mama, look at Sam. Oh, mama, won't you please look at Sam? He's eating all the meat and he's licking on a frying pan.
Of course, the lifeblood of music hall and variety has always been the solo turn. The performer who does it on his Todd, who gets all the credit and all the blame. It's the loneliest job in the world. If the audience doesn't applaud, you're a failure. If they don't laugh, you might as well be dead. Down the years, in every corner of the kingdom, from Penzance to Inverness, wherever audiences have hearts carved from the local stone, theatres have echoed to the tortured cry of the solo comic. Somebody please kill an usher so that I don't have to die alone. But here's a comic who seldom if ever died on stage, whose solo turn was so cunningly polished that it lost almost none of its glow in 40 years or more. The man they called Max Wall.
Imitations of well-known people. My first will be Charles Lawton in the film Mutiny on the Bounty. I hope you're going to like this. You're going to get it. Charles Lawton. Mr. Christian, give me the pearls immediately. Hand them over. I haven't got them. That's the other chap, you know. Don't lie to me, Mr. Christian. I don't like it. You must give your captain credit for having some little intelligence. One of my men saw the native girl give you the pearls on the island. Hand them over or it's mutiny, you fool. I thank you. My next will be John McCormack. Don't laugh, please. Don't laugh. It's possible. It's either John McCormack or Jack Doyle. I mean, anybody can do him. Well, if Jack Doyle's anywhere near, I'm joking, of course. Well, a quick imitation of Jack Doyle. Oh! I thank you. I should like to imitate Mrs. Jack Doyle, Movita, but I don't speak enough Spanish, you know. There's two words. Mañanas, that means tomorrow, and pajamas, that means tonight. However, John McCormack, straight into it. I hear you calling me, Big Dollar, and oh, the one? No balance, right? I never stay where I'm not wanted. I know just the moment to go. For instance, last Sunday I went in the country to visit some people I know. When I got there, they were out, I'm afraid, but they'd left their house in the care of a maid. So I took off my hat, and I took off my coat, and I took off my gloves and went in. The maid was quite pretty and seemingly witty. We flirted and finished the gin. She must have thought I was a surgeon, no doubt, because all of a sudden she started to shout, "You've gone far enough, cut it out, cut it out." So I put on my hat, and I put on my coat, and I put on my gloves and went home. I once took some lessons in boxing. I thought it an excellent wheeze. Then I made a short list out of all the big fellows I thought I could beat up with ease. The first on the list was the bully next door. I just couldn't wait to punch him on the jaw. So I took off my hat, and I took off my coat, and I took off my gloves and went in. I showed him the list, and I held up my fist. I said, "How'd you like this on your chin?" "I'll break you in pieces," he started to shout. "I'll bust in your windpipe, I'll tear out your snout." So I pulled out my pencil and crossed his name out. Then I put on my hat, and I put on my coat, and I put on my gloves and went home.
So you met someone who set you back on your heels. Goody, goody, so you met someone, and now you know how it feels. Goody, goody, so you gave him your heart too, just as I gave mine to you, and he broke it in little pieces.
Some solo turns had nothing going for them but courage. This was a songstress called Meggie Eaton, who tried desperately hard to keep a tune, but somehow always lost it.
And you don't like it, do you? Goody, goody for you, goody, goody for me.
And when she lost her struggle with the song, she would break into a dance that Max Wall would have envied. "We will call you, dear. Honest, we will."
And I hope you're satisfied. You
Now here's a solo turn of a very different class. The Toffs comedian Ronald Franco.
I say, you do play marvelously. Do you file your nails when you play the piano?
Of course I file my nails. Don't you file yours?
No, I throw mine away. Still, I'm a chap who never grovels to obtain the latest novels from the library to which I still subscribe. I don't like Wallace or Sax Romer, but I'm quite at home with Homer. I prefer a classic jest to modern jive. For fellows who truly are rather peculiar don't run about nowadays. All true adventure is in the past centuries, and Romans and Greeks was a craze. And poor old Diogenes must have got Bogenes squashed in a tub, you see. For matters historical or allegorical always appeal to me. End of song, start of patter. Of course, Julius Caesar lived in those days, many years ago, in Rome. You know Rome, the place that Romulus and Remus built for Mussolini to keep the wolf from the door. Everybody in those days went about in night dresses. So why Nero had the place burnt. He was an agent for a pajama firm. Well, Caesar, he won heaps of battles frightfully, and when he got back to Rome, having beaten the bitters, the Gauls, I mean, they wanted to make the old boy king, but he didn't like the idea at all, so they put a laurel wreath on his head, because he was as bald as a bat. Never saw such a damn-looking fool in your life. And he was walking like that one day, looking like a crowned egg, through the Afton, and not the Afton, the Forum, when he was met by a froth blower, a chap, a soothsayer, I should say, a chap with a long beard. No? Used to be a spoiler until he had his face lifted.
Actually, Ronald Franco was one of those comics who wasn't quite a solo turn. He used his pianist as a silent stooge. It's a traditional ego-saving device. If the jokes don't work, blame the piano player. Magicians have always had a similar ego-saving device. It's called the audience. From the great Levant to Paul Daniels, magicians have always made members of the audience part of the act, calling them up on stage and then bamboozling them with invisible sleight of hand. Of all music hall routines, magic is the one that seems to have changed the least with the passing years. Just look at this routine from 40 or more years ago. The patter may have changed, the tricks haven't.
Will you throw one ring at a time, huh? Wait. You see, ring is quite so stamps tied together. Please watch close. Quite all right? You have another ring there? Just throw it. 1, 2. Please, just hold those 2 rings, one. Just hold those 2 rings. No, you see, The thumbs are tied together, the rings are solid. It's not possible. Pull. Pull. No, no. It's not possible. Thumbs are tied together, the rings are solid. I beg your pardon. Thumbs? No, no, no. Thumbs always tied together. Please, you have the rings. Would you mind just to throw the rings over? 1, 2. I have 2 rings. You have 2. Take 2 more. You have 4. The last time I repeat very, very slowly. Please watch. You see, the thumbs are tied together all the time. I do it very, very slowly. Then you see how it's done, I hope. Please, would you throw the rings one at a time? 1, 2, 3, and the last one, slow motion. Look, you see the ring is quite all right. Thumbs tied together. 4 rings. Just take the 4 rings. Thank you. Thumbs always tied together. Here's a trick you can all do when you get home.
Seeing is believing, says Alan Allen, escapologist. Just to prove it, he invites 2 members of the audience to truss him up outside the theatre in broad daylight. Only when they're satisfied does he start on his upward journey.
This kind of outdoor escape stunt became very popular in Britain during the 1950s. It was all inspired, of course, by the memory of the great Harry Houdini.
For Allen issues a challenge. Tie him up and he undertakes to free himself in less time than it takes to tie him. Just to make it more interesting, he does it 60 feet in the air. They just can't take their eyes off him. 4 minutes, 35 seconds was the time taken to tie him on this occasion, and now he's bent on the task of freeing himself. He's got himself right way up anyway, which is just as well. More than 3 minutes upside down is dangerous, he says, as it pains his eyesight. Now he's really hanging on by the skin of his teeth. But it's all over, bar the shouting. Allen's done it again. Time taken, 4 minutes, 20 seconds. Easy as falling off a log, he says, but give us the log to fall off any time.
These are the hands of the man who calls himself the world's fastest escapologist. He is Alan Allen, a 24-year-old Manchester magician who in a Surrey garden marks the 25th anniversary of the death of his hero, Houdini, in a way the master himself wouldn't have dared. For Mr. Allen is to be buried alive and attempt an escape from the one thing Houdini said made escape impossible, the grave. The time is 11:30. The grave is filled in. 6 feet and half a ton of earth, its weight increased by the dampness, are between escape man Allen and the cool November air. A signal rope, which is attached around his body, is his only contact with his helpers. Minutes tick by. Something's gone wrong. No signal has come. Dig him out is the order, and the shovels begin to fly again. They got to work fast to avert disaster. Two feet down, bare hands have to take over, for the shovels may hurt the man whose escape bid went wrong. 38 minutes after setting out on what he promised would be the world's greatest escape, Alan Allen is free, alive and sound. But only just.
Now, let us consider for a moment that curious music hall animal, the comedy singer. They came in several varieties. There were comedians who used to ginger their act up with a song or two, but who weren't really singers, like the immortal Max Miller. There were others whose singing became so popular that it turned them into top recording artists, like George Formby and Arthur Askey. And there were singers whose voices weren't good enough to carry a career, but who knew how to deliver a song with a funny lyric. Coming up, examples of all three varieties. But first, feast your eyes on the upmarket DJ, Lord Snooty's failed older brother, who introduces the Two Leslies.
The Two Leslies. You know, the name on the label makes me grin even before I play it. So let's play it. Leslie Holmes is at the piano, looking like a rather well-dressed and sophisticated owl. And Leslie Saroni, that is if he'll stand still long enough for you to see, looking like the naughty boy who did grow up.
Now for a song that we wrote and sung in Radio Pie entitled I Miniature's Prairie Flower. Why was I born so beautiful? Why was I born so small? Why was I born so beautiful? Why was I born at all? Oh, I'm a little prairie flower growing wild every hour. Nobody cares to cultivate me, so I'm as wild can be. As wild can be. If wild is a thing to which there seems to be no stop. Last night I snacked a jelly just to hear the thing go flop. Oh, I'm a little prairie flower growing wild every hour. Nobody cares to cultivate me, so I'm as wild can be. As wild can be. Away from two big hooligans, two daisy hack to dash. I hid behind some broken glass and whispered crash, crash, crash. Oh, I'm a little prairie flower growing wild every hour. Nobody cares to cultivate me, so I'm as wild can be. As wild can be. Adam and Eve in the garden lived and they were very jolly. But what did they do in the winter time when there were no leaves but holly? Oh, I'm a little prairie flower growing wild every hour. Nobody cares to cultivate me, so I'm as wild can be. As wild can be. Jack and Jill went up the hill and things they did no water. Jill came down with half a crown. You think she went for water? It's a little prairie flower growing wild every hour. Nobody cares to cultivate me, so I'm as wild can be. As wild can be. My bloom has gone, I've run to sea for other lands make way. So life's a good old soldier, I must gently fade away.
Oh, I haven't any money. You're just as broke as me. You're not so very busy, and I'm asking you to be free. Hey ho, like a day. What have we got to do?
The lady with the negligee is Miss Betty Estelle, a young soprano who discovered that she could fashion a career in music hall as a comedy singer.
Somewhere in the country, we'll find a little dance. We'll pay a quarter.
I'm going to sing you my little song about my little thing that I entitle The Bee. Oh, what a glorious thing to be, a healthy, grown-up, busy, busy bee, making hay while time is ripe, building up the honeycomb just like tripe. I'd like to be, busy, busy bee, being just as busy as bee can be, flying all around the wild hedgerows, stinging all the cows upon the parson's nose. Honeybee, honeybee, if you like, but won't sting me. Honeybee, honeybee, if you like, but won't sting me. Oh, what a glorious thing to be, a healthy, grown-up, busy, busy bee, visiting the picnics, quite a little tease, raising little lumps upon the Boy Scout's knees. I'd like to be, busy, busy bee, being just as busy as a bee can be, flirting with a butterfly strong upon the wing. Whoopee, oh, death, what is thy sting? Honeybee, honeybee, if you like, but won't sting me. Honeybee, honeybee, if you like, don't sting me. Silly bee song, isn't it? Oh, what a glorious thing to be, and I'm so obedient, busy, busy bee. To be a good bee, one must contrive, for bees in a beehive must be hive. But maybe I wouldn't be a bee. Bees are all right when alive, you see. When bees die, you really should see 'em pinned on a card in a Mookie Museum. Honeybee, honeybee, if you like, don't sting me. Honeybee, honeybee, I must resolve.
Variety's finest hour came in the 1940s, when our country was at war, and British concert parties entertained the troops wherever the battle lines were drawn. Some of the greatest names became so identified with the war effort, they were practically honorary servicemen. Tommy Trinder, George Formby, Arthur Askey and Richard Murdoch, and of course the women, Vera Lynn, Anne Shelton and Gracie Fields. They didn't just keep the home fires burning, they took their talent to the front line and raised our lads' morale with laughter and romance and images of home. The payoff was always a sentimental song, and it always worked, even when it was a song from the wrong war.
In an old-fashioned town of fame and renown lives a lady old and grey, counting her souvenirs along through the years. It only seems yesterday. Long ago the world was singing, and they sang with tears and joy, and the song they sang brings memories to a lady in Armentières. Long ago they parlez-vous, and she danced ma chérie. Now she's only just a memory, that old lady in Armentières. She recalls how they marched when going away, singing a song so bright and gay to cheer. She recalls saucy winks in every eye, for she was the mademoiselle from Armentières. Now once again the boys will meet her, they'll remember through the years, and they'll smile and greet that lady, the old lady from Armentières. Long ago they parlez-vous, and she danced ma chérie. And now she's old and just a memory, that old lady in Armentières. She recalls how they'd wait when walking by, singing a song so bright and gay with tears. She recalls saucy winks in every eye, when she was the mademoiselle from Armentières. Now once again the boys will meet her, and they'll remember through the years. When they meet, they'll smile and greet her, that old lady in Armentières.
war years had turned George Formby into Britain's favourite entertainer. His comedy film, in which he outsmarted sinister German spies, had sent civilian morale soaring. And now here he was, doing a frontline turn for the troops.
But what does Williford Promenade mean? Wat is het bevest? Of die van is dat stanzijtie? Dat is niet wel dat wel is dan niet. Dit is het. I didn't know it meant all that.
What are you doing out here, George?
I've come out to sing to you lads.
Well, sing us windows, George, will you?
Window cleaner?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Trinder's the name, Tommy Trinder, making a personal appearance in Italy for Ensa. Taking up a position outside the Garrison Theatre in Foggia, Tommy gives a turn to 8 army lads.
You can't get in! You unlucky people! Well, anyway, the best thing we can do is to work out in the open air. Do you hear the voice? I've got a voice like medals. I won this. Well, anyway, it's grand being in Italy. Something about Italy that gets you. As I came along just now, I went like that, and my right lung said to my left lung, that's the stuff I was telling you about. Really, I should be here in battle dress. You know, when I left England to come and work for Ensa, they said, you'll have to wear a battle dress. I said, well, what's the idea? I mean, after all, I'm an actor, not a soldier. So he said, well, you'll have to wear a battle dress because if you get captured by the Germans, they'll shoot you. I said, if the Germans capture me, they're entitled to shoot. Next thing, they put me on an aeroplane. Put me on an aeroplane, flew me all the way out to Algiers. I eventually arrived at the aerodrome. Is that my voice or a brake squeaking? Good afternoon, rich people. Anyway. In case you didn't hear what I said, I thank you. Am I standing in a hole or are you on horseback?
Listen, you silly little man.
What's to do? Scotch. More scotch.
I wasn't expecting to see you this evening.
Why not?
Well, this telegram you sent me says I am dying. I don't know what you meant.
I am dying. Did I say that?
Dying on the
I
telegram.
am dying. Oh, well, you see, I wanted to say I am dying to see you, but there were too many words for sixpence, so I just...
Well, if it's going back to old jokes you want, what about this? Ladies and gentlemen, once again Bandwagon brazenly presents Chestnut Corner. Now, listen to me. Where do the motor horns come from?
China.
What part of China?
Hong Kong. Thanks, Dave and Joe. Now, where are we? Would you like to see a photograph of me taken when I was in hospital?
Rather.
Here you are, I'm in the end bed.
If the end bed's empty.
Is it? I must have get out for a minute.
Who was that lady I saw you with last night?
That wasn't a lady, that was my nephew. He walks that way.
radio, or as we used to say, the wireless, had helped bind the nation together during the war years too. And now the hostilities were over, it was doing the same, but this time with laughter. It was the funny men who led the way, and one funny man in particular. Once a week, the whole country would crouch round the tall family model wireless in the front room, the one with the walnut cabinet, and when they heard the familiar theme tune shout, "It's that man again!" Itmar, for a few glorious years, was the most popular radio series Britain has ever known. Tommy Handley, the man himself, and the marvellously memorable characters who revolved around him. Colonel Chinstrap, "I don't mind if I do, sir." Mrs. Mop, "Shall I do you now, sir?" And all the others had become a sort of national family. So it was inevitable that sooner or later the Pathé cameraman would invade the Itmar radio studio to immortalise on film Britain's second most famous family.
As a send-off to a 3 months off-the-air holiday, an official reception was given by the Governor of Tomtopia to his many friends and creditors. As Government House had been taken over under the Ministry of Health's de-housing scheme, His Excellency received his guests at the Albany Club.
Well, folks, as you know, all my official receptions end with a picture show. Now, I've had a few pictures sent to me from England, which I'd like you to have a deco at. Now, there's the one.
Mr. Handler?
Sorry, Hutch. What about a game of hopscotch?
Scotch, sir. I don't mind if I do.
Colonel, every time I see you, you're on the wrong side of the bar.
Sir, there is no wrong side to a bar.
My Papa, he say, what about something to eat?
I'll give you 3 guesses who gets there first.
Ooh, lovely grub, lovely grub.
Thank you, Ruby.
How often do I have to tell you, no cups outside?
Sorry, love. Well, folks, before leaving Tomtopia, I want to pay a special tribute to my friends, the civil servants. One for you, and one for you.
What's this?
Too much.
Into the shine, into the shine.
Get out.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah?
The orchestra's arrived. How about a dance?
No fear. I'm going to sit this one out. Hello, girls.
Hello.
Well, about a game of postman's knock, eh? Well, girls, would you like to hear a nice bedtime story?
Oh, yes. What is a bedtime story?
Now, I'm glad you asked me that. Well, a bedtime story...
Mr. Handler?
Don't be a bore, Hutch.
More scotch, certainly.
And as I said to the Colonial Secretary...
Good morning. How are you this afternoon? You look awful, thank goodness. Good night.
Ah, Chinstrap. How do you do? They're treating you rather shabbily. Shabbily, sir. Excellent idea. I'll have the Magnum. I say, Monday, have you heard that in England now, whiskey is 25 and 9pence a bottle?
Disgraceful. What's Gladstone thinking about?
His Excellency appears to be ignoring us, Mr. Worsley.
We'll take him next series, Mr. Kavanagh.
And he said, you! Can't you get off them tram lines? My prince said, yes, I can, but you can't. Yes. Launches off into the usual odd ode. This is the tale of Hilda Hose, who had a phosphorescent nose, which sent out quite a glow before her, reminding one of dawn's aurora. And people meeting her at night would comment on its ruddy light. And Hilda would say of this she heard that ruddy was a well-picked word. She hated to be thought a freak and cursed her large and crimson beak. Especially it terrified her if motorists drew up beside her and waited there with words obscene for Hilda's nose to turn to green. At last, abandoning restraint, she camouflaged her nose with paint. But once again she missed the bus because the paint was luminous. And people thought it out of place to meet a nose without a face. And Hilda hated being teased about the fireworks when she sneezed. But now at last, I'm glad to say, some better luck has come her way. For though the crimson glow remains, Miss Hilda Hose no more complains. For sanctioned by the ARP, she stands outside a surgery, and with her phosphorescent snout, she guides the patients in and out. Goodbye.
sing you a song about two legionnaires, my friend at the piano, le capitaine, myself, le caporal, not quite so good.
The Legion is no doubt the finest regiment out.
A better record no one else can say.
In field or barrack square, no other can compare.
And we are two of the men that brought it fame, mon capitaine et moi.
We're just a pair of foreign legionnaires.
With the ladies too, we've had a few affairs.
And when I'm on the mash, their little hearts I smash. They say I'm flash, they like my dash.
A tickle of my moustache, no matter if it's love or war we're in. Whatever we do, we go all out to win.
And in the brunt of an attack, I'm in front.
I'm at the back.
We're a daring pair of foreign legionnaires.
Comme allons, viens nous servir à boire. Sous la tonnelle, on prend le son jupon, et chacun lui raconte une histoire. Madelon, Madelon, Madelon. Madelon, little doggy, Madelon.
Wait a minute, Corporal, that's not the French version.
No, mon capitaine, that's the American version.
And tell me, how do you get along with the other fellows in the regiment?
Oh, but I like everybody except the sergeant major.
And what's the matter with him?
Everything. Every time I do something wrong, I get a kick in the pants. It gives him what you call in English posteriority complex.
Too bad.
Yes.
Tell me, has there never been a woman in your life?
A woman in my life? Oh, no. Oh yes, one or two ladies, mon capitaine.
But you never married?
No, never married.
And why was that?
Oh, it's too expensive. And then when you get married, you must send an invitation. When you send that invitation, you send them out to three kinds of people. First, the people you like. Second, the people you don't like. And third, the people that don't like you, but you don't know it.
Very true.
Yes, it's very true. And then you're spending a lot of money on clothes, huh? Because you know in France, a man gets married in evening dress, huh? In England, he gets married in morning dress with spits, boots.
Spats.
Yes, he's wonderful. He knows everything.
And in a nudist colony?
And in a nudist colony, mon capitaine, he gets married in spite of everything.
Radio stars like Jack Warner were soon swallowed up by that new fad, the contraption that sent fuzzy moving pictures into your living room. You know, the fly-by-night thing they said would never last. Television. And before long, nearly all the old musical and variety favourites were doing their stuff on the telly. The ranks of the music hall troopers began to be seriously thinned. Every time you looked around, another comedian was using your best jokes on the telly, another singer singing your song. But there was one class of musical performance that no one could pinch, and that was the novelty act.
What's wrong with these people? Sick? 1 over the 8? Neither, they're hypnotized. Using total strangers as subjects, here's a demonstration by the famous hypnotist Richard Payne. First, he takes his 3 subjects for a bicycle ride.
Now concentrate. Concentrate towards me. On the word 3, understand, on the word 3, you're going to have a race. You are going to have a race. 1, 2, 3. You're racing now. Pedal faster, faster. Don't let him pass you. Pedal faster. Faster, pedal faster, faster, faster. Pedal faster, faster. Don't let him pass you. Come along, pedal faster, faster and faster.
Hypnotic suggestion can make men into supermen.
Listen to nothing but my voice. You'll listen to nothing but my voice. You are now a stiff iron girder. You'll keep your body so stiff that no power on earth can bend you. You are now a stiff iron girder, stiffer and stiffer. You keep your body so stiff that no power on earth can bend you.
Don't try this at home unless Mr. Payne is handy.
You are now a stiff iron girder. No power on earth can bend you. Stiffer and stiffer, stiffer and stiffer. You are a stiff iron girder, a stiff iron girder. Stiffer and stiffer, stiffer and stiffer. No power on earth can bend you.
Under hypnosis, you'll believe anything and act accordingly.
You're in the park. It's a very, very cold night. It's a very, very cold night. It's a very, very cold night. And you're in the park and it's freezing. It's getting colder and colder. Colder and colder. It's freezing and freezing. Freezing. Freezing and freezing. It's getting colder, colder and colder. Colder and colder. Come along, get together, put your arms around each other. Come along, get together, get together. Come along, it's freezing, it's freezing.
Finally, the hypnotist as a matchmaker.
Oh, he's standing beside of you. Understand? He's standing right beside of you. And Alan will stand beside of you. Now, he wants you to make love. He wants to make love. favourite film star is on the side of you. I want you to make me laugh. Now, when you wake up, understand, when you wake up, you'll wake up feeling strong, healthy, and happy, and very refreshed from your sleep. Now, on the word 3, you will wake up, and you will stand up, and you will shout loudly, whoopee. Understand? On the word 3, you will wake up, you will stand up, and you will shout loudly, whoopee. Understand? On the word 3. 1, 2, 3.
Whoopee! Whoopee!
We've come a long way from the hippodromes and palaces that sprouted like mushrooms in Edwardian Britain. They flourished in even grander form until the end of the Second World War and the coming of the television age. Then one by one, the great variety theatres were demolished or turned into cinemas or bingo halls. But a few of the best still survive and are lovingly preserved as defiant monuments to the great days of live entertainment. Days when a young man's dream was to top the bill at the Palladium, to smell the grease paint in the dressing room, hear the expectant murmur of the audience and the stage manager's voice on the intercom saying, 5 minutes, Mr. Rudd.
All this world is up to date, even children stay up late. Things are not just what they used to be. All this world is off its nut, going crazy, nothing but. Just get this earful from me. Since making whoopee became all the rage, it's even got to the old bird cage. My canary has circles under his eyes. He used to whistle the prisoner's song. Now he does snake hips the whole night long. My poor canary has circles under his eyes. the little lamb. He always looks so solemn. I wonder if he is in a jam. I look in Swapper's column. He won't eat his birdseed, it's really a sin. He won't sing a thing without his drop of gin. My canary has circles under his eyes.
Music hall as such has gone, but in pubs and comedy clubs throughout the British Isles, its spirit refuses to die. The song is ended, but the melody lingers on.